Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back again with another video. Today, I wanted to go live to provide some transfer updates with regards to the left back situation in terms of Jorel Hato from Ajax, who we previously wanted in the last summer transfer window but failed to assign. We did receive some updates yesterday and the day before from Team News and Ticks, so I did want to go live to do a stream updating you guys about the Jorel Hato situation. And in the meantime, in the intern, we're seeing reports from uh, Portuguese media mainly stating that Victor Gyokeres is very unhappy at Sporting, almost as if he's clapping back at the Sporting Lisbon president. And it's pretty much, he spoke back and he said, we'll see what happens in terms of his future and whether he stays in Europe or whether he ends up in the Premier League. It's one to watch for sure, especially in the striker market. As you know, it's not just Arsenal that need a striker position fulfilled this window. There are links in terms of other clubs. Sam CR reports mention that Tottenham Hotspur, the white side of London, they're looking at hijacking the move for Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, who has previously a bid declined from Manchester United. Brentford received a bid from Manchester United. It didn't meet their evaluation, and so they declined it. Manchester United are looking at submitting another bid for Brian Mbeumo now that Thomas Frank is the manager of um, Tottenham, which is crazy to say. I think it's a good appointment for them, but then again, it's Tottenham. I mean, do you really have a future there? Do you really see a future there? But it looks like Brian Mbeumo really wants to play under Thomas Frank, and it looks like he could be swayed from the white side of London, North London, that is. Hi, Niffin. Hope you're well. How you doing? Hi, Maliha. I'm sorry to hear that you weren't feeling well, girl. I hope you're feeling better today. Guys, it's Friday the 13th today. Hopefully, none of this crazy nonsense, bad luck in terms of the transfer news market for Arsenal. We've already had enough bad luck as it is throughout our season. I mean, who would have thought Mikel Moreno, double M, would be playing striker for us in the big Champions League stage? And he did a good job filling in that position when he was called upon. I also want to give a huge credit to Kivior. Jacob Kivior really stepped in when Big Gabby got injured, and throughout the games against Real Madrid, he played the best games in an Arsenal shirt ever. So, um, you have to give credit when and where it's due. I also do want to provide updates of the situation of Alexander Zinchenko and Jakub Kivior. From my understanding, we've seen reports, numerous reports, stating that AC Milan want to sign Jakub Kivior or Alexander Zinchenko. But for me, it's clear indication that AC Milan and these Italian teams, as you guys know, are very stingy in terms of paying the money forward in terms of our valuation for these players. Arsenal are looking to offload these players, but are not looking to offload these players in terms of cheap price tags. We used to be the team that let players go on a free, let players go on a free because they didn't renew their contracts. We leave them in the last year of the contract where they have the most player power, and then all of a sudden they walk on a free. Or on the other hand, we're signing players with extremely high wages because we struggled to attract players not being in the Champions League previously. Now that we're in the Champions League and we have challenged in the Champions League and in the Premier League to some extent, yes, we have a trouble of finishing second, but that doesn't mean now that we have to pay high wages for certain players like Nico Williams, who, I do have to mention is a serious interest by Bayern Munich. But it's clear that Nico Williams does have high wage demands, and I'm not sure if he would want to come to England. As you guys know, England is 50% tax of your income, net income, or sorry, gross income. So I don't know if England is a place he wants to be. I'm also hearing rumors that Athletic Bilbao might even renew his contract again. I knew previously he wanted to wait out to play for Barcelona, but Barcelona came out and said that they've moved on from him and that he's no longer a target for them. and that they've moved on to other targets, and unfortunately Nico Williams's dreams of playing for Barcelona isn't going to transpire into fruition. So I do think Nico Williams is our secondary target in terms of the winger, but I think our priority in the last 2.5, 3 weeks has been no other than Rodrigo. And it's clear that if there is clear indication Rodrigo wants to leave Real Madrid, doesn't want to be a backup at Real Madrid, that he would be a starter at Real Madrid, get more minutes, get more game time, and obviously more game time than what he has already at Real Madrid. And he would, the interchange ability in terms of his position, it's guaranteed more minutes than what he would get at other teams, respectively. Sorry, hopefully you guys can still hear me. I don't know why my other sorry, I hope it's better now. I've been having severe audio issues whenever I've gone on my live on my phone, and connection issues. I think it's my data connection, but hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me. I just wanted to go live quickly to share some updates on what I've heard so far within the week. And the title of the video is about Jorel Hato from Ajax. Previously, last summer window, Arsenal were looking at Jorel Hato to play the left back position. And I know we have so many left backs, but losing Tierney and having some injured left backs, it's not good for us. So Arsenal are still genuinely interested in Jorel Hato, and Team News and Ticks came out yesterday stating the fact that the interest in Jorel Hato that Fabrizio Romano tweeted out is not as accurate as it seems. It's actually further more along the line than what Fabrizio has posted and tweeted out, that we're further ahead in terms of our interest with Jorel Hato. But there is a caveat to this, and you guys are not going to like to hear this if you're an Arsenal fan. Um, there is an issue with the Jorel Hato potential signing to Arsenal. The issue is no other than Chelsea Football Club are significantly interested in Jorel Hato. And the problem is, this may be a good thing or a bad thing. The problem is, our defense is a lot more organized and structured so that Jorel Hato wouldn't necessarily get guaranteed game time in that position. The situation with Jorel Hato at Chelsea, because their defense is all over the place, he would get more game time than he would at Arsenal, which is an advantage to him to sign for Chelsea over Arsenal. That's the situation we're at now, and of course, it's another situation of Chelsea looking at Arsenal's transfer targets and copying their homework, so to speak. Hi Omar, how you doing, man? I'll give you a call later today. I'm not sure if you're working today. I was gonna call you a few days ago. How you doing, man? You got a new manager, Tottenham, Thomas Frank in charge now, Omar? I don't think it's gonna make a difference for you guys, but I did break the news on here, Omar. I don't know if you were watching earlier, but looks like Man United's transfer target of Brian Mbeumo seems to want to play for Tottenham Hotspur instead of Man United. Man United are gonna submit another bid for Brian Mbeumo, but it's clear that he's indicated, according to CR reports, who is extremely reliable, that Brian Mbeumo favors a move to Tottenham Hotspur than Manchester United because he wants to play under Thomas Frank. So if Tottenham Hotspur get Brian Mbeumo, God help us, because I feel like his career is gonna go down the drain at Tottenham. Um, and some people ask the question in international football: is um Pochettino gonna last in the American team. And I don't think he is going to last for the World Cup. I do think they might fire him before the World Cup, even though they're already qualified automatically for hosting. Hi, Jose. How you doing, man? Happy Friday the 13th. Are you at Gerard Street? No, I'm not at Gerard Street, and I don't like that comment. Are you pro Arteta or Arteta? Well, I am pro Arteta. Arteta in for life. But no, realistically, I'm very balanced in my approach of the team and the manager. I give criticism when and where it's due, but I also give credit when and where it's due. Yeah, Thomas Frank likes his African players, and I think when you're looking at that Tottenham team, Brian Mbeumo is one of the stars in that midfield. He can play. Richarlison, did he really do all that? I remember when Tottenham first signed Richarlison, guys, they had the audacity to call him their own. Had the they had the audacity to call him their own R9. It was pathetic. Hi Absar, how you doing? Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day so far. I'm outside, but I wanted to do a quick stream just to give some transfer updates that I heard yesterday from Team News and Tick's Patreon. Um, if it's not coming from David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, or from Team News and Tick's, Sam CR Reports is quite reliable too. Sammy Mokbel has been spot on in the Declan Rice saga previously, and he was the first to report the Zubamendi medical and announcements. But I did update you guys that Zubamendi's medical wouldn't happen until July, which is next month, because of the new fiscal period. I also need to remind you guys that the end of this week, so starting to next week, is the end of Arsenal players' holidays and Arteta's holiday in Mallorca. So we'll see a bunch of transfer news next week is what I'm expecting. And there were rumors that Arsenal put out a first bid for Victor Gyokeres, but I do not think that's true at all. And in fact, David Ornstein Fabrizio did not say a word about it. Neither did Team News and Tick. So this is pretty much being pushed out by the Portuguese media, but I don't think it's credible at all. And I do think you should look at it with caution, if in terms of my discretion to you guys. But of course, do what you like. It's just I'm advising you that I don't think that's true, and don't be fooled by these ridiculous reports. You're hearing all sorts of journalists, wanting to get a tune out of this transfer window. And I get it. Everybody has bills to pay at the end of the day. So you got to do what you got to do. You got to hustle this transfer window. Um, Jose says Frank can get a tune out of his players. I'm not happy he's at Spurs. Yeah, you know what? When I heard that that Ange was leaving Tottenham, the first thing I heard was Thomas Frank was going to be appointed. And I said, that's not good, because that's actually a good manager, someone who can get the best of what he has, even if he doesn't have a good squad, which Tottenham doesn't necessarily have a good squad. No disrespect, Omar. It's just the facts. I do think that he can get a tune out of the players. And you know what though? I do think that Thomas Frank is a yes man, like a Graham Potter was at Chelsea, and I think this is someone that Daniel Levi would like, a yes man, and Daniel Levi is really stingy. I don't. Do you think Tottenham are gonna spend a lot in the transfer window? Yeah, they won a European trophy, but do you think they will spend a lot this window? I don't think so, and I do think they need to sell before they can buy. I know one team that needs to sell before they can buy. That's Aston Villa. And if the opportunity of someone like Morgan Rogers came up for sale, I think Arsenal should pounce on that opportunity. Morgan Rogers is an incredibly talented player, but I know other Premier League clubs would be after him. But guys, that's all for me now. I'm gonna go live later today for another update. I'll probably do a longer stream. I know it's only been 15 minutes, but I'll do a longer stream later today. I'll also be live with Moss later tonight for the basketball. Let's go Pacers, my boy Siakam. But have a good rest of your day, everybody. Um, I'll be live later tonight. Enjoy your Friday the 13th, folks, and I'll see you all later. Thanks for joining me.